Hi guys and girls, I'm Obsidian Ant and welcome to 3302. This is where I take a look at the news and happenings in and around Elite Dangerous. Today we're going to take a look at the creation of a second inhabited area of space, an in-game game journal, the potential for new station interiors as well as the summoning of ships, and are the Empire and Federation going to war? Jack Station. This weekend at LaveCon, Michael Brooks himself confirmed that Jack Station will now become the centre of a second inhabited bubble. What this means is out there in the depths of space, 22,000 light years away from the current inhabited area of human inhabited space, humanity is going to expand with a new colony. How this occurs is largely unknown at the moment, although it's suspected that it will revolve around a whole bunch of community goals. Now, Michael did say that the community goals would last for at least a month, maybe longer, due to the nature of the location of Jax, and because obviously getting out there will take a lot longer than just the community goals that are centered in regular space. Now, for me personally, I feel this is an absolutely fantastic opportunity. As you all know, I absolutely love exploration, and I know a load of other people do as well. There is a question, though, that comes up on quite a lot of people's minds, and that is, what really would be that different out there in the second inhabited bubble to what we have now in the main bubble? Well, quite clearly the gameplay would obviously be the same, but the thing that would be different is that we would be building a new area of civilization right from scratch. So new stations, new ground bases, expanded into currently unoccupied systems. That all brings with it a whole slew of opportunities and new facets of gameplay, even albeit if it does use existing gameplay mechanics. Now, the area of space out there is also very rich. It's very, very beautiful, as you've probably seen in other videos and other screenshots. Jack Station hangs right next door to this gorgeous nebula, and the starfield around there is very dense. There's also a whole load of other nebula right nearby, and with the theory that the upcoming aliens are going to reside in or around these nebula, it would seem that humanity could well be encroaching onto their territory. In addition to all that, Jax is much closer to the galactic core than the current inhabited bubble. So if you've never ventured too far out of the current area of space, I highly recommend a trip to a Jax Station, and there's going to be more on that in the video in a moment. With the LaveCon having come and now gone, there wasn't a whole lot of new information there, but we were able to glean a few little bits out of Frontier. Mostly, of course, the answers were all wait for Gamescom, and I'll have some more information on that a little bit later. But for now, there was a few interesting things, notably of which one was an in-game journal. Now, details are sketchy on exactly how that's going to work, and to be perfectly honest, I didn't quite understand the entire gist of it. I don't know if it's a manual journal where you can write in it yourself, but what I do know is that the game will write some of the details to a log file that's stored locally, and this log file could then be read by third-party apps, and Frontier has already contacted a bunch of app developers already. So the idea would be that perhaps the app would be able to scrape local market data, for example, giving you a log of transaction history. And of course it could also be used for your location, which would give you a history and a log of all these systems that you've visited, along with places you've discovered. All of this is something that's long been asked for, and apparently is going to be a part of patch 2.2. Now, talking of patch 2.2, a couple of other questions did come up. One was about station interiors. The questioner asked Frontier, what about all these station interiors? No matter where you go, they all look the same. To which Michael Brooks looked a little bit slyly and said, wait for Gamescom. Now, that answer, like all the others, is very ambiguous at best, and people have taken to interpret it in slightly different ways. A few people have assumed that perhaps it means we'd get the ability to walk around station interiors sooner rather than later, and that maybe at Gamescom we'd get a glimpse of this. A more wider interpretation, and one that I personally agree with, is that quite likely we're going to start seeing station variations, so maybe a variety of station interiors based upon the economy type or the government type, or perhaps even different station interiors based on whether they belong to the Alliance, the Empire or the Federation. And there is another theory, a little bit out of the left field perhaps, that suggests that we could perhaps be seeing alien stations, which of course would give us another different type of station interior. Now, regardless of what this does actually mean, we do know from past experience that so far the updates in Season 2, patch 2.1 for example, delivered a whole bunch of graphical upgrades, so I imagine that this will continue on throughout the rest of Season 2. Another point that came up during the Q&A panel was the question of summoning ships. That's the ability to get ships that may be stored in another station a long way from you to be transported to you. It was very clear to me that Sandra Samarco actually wanted to say a lot on this particular subject, but ultimately said no comment. And this, it was very obvious that something on this is going to be coming very soon, and I fully expect it to be part of patch 2.2 as well. How it exactly works, we don't know, and it's also open potentially to abuse, and no doubt as well, summoning ships would have quite an extensive timer on them. Toward the end of last week, it started to become increasingly obvious that both the Empire and the Federation are heading towards war. Adding to in-game events, it was also confirmed that is happening by Michael Brooks in an interview he had with PC Powerplay. And of course, adding to this, events are continuing to unfold that suggest the imminent arrival of aliens, at least in the form of crashed shipwrecks. Now, streamer and ambassador to Elite, Crash, said recently that he has worked out how to locate the alien points of interest, ones that contain crashed alien ships. Now, he didn't reveal any more details. I don't know if he's actually gone ahead and discovered one of them himself, but either way, he didn't post any screenshots or video of it. He simply said that he knows they're in the game, he's actually worked out where they are, but wanted the community to find them before he started discussing or revealing too much more. Now, from some people, his claims have been met with a degree of skepticism, but Crash has been long associated with Elite Dangerous, and he was pretty much the first big streamer for the game, and has quite close ties with Frontier themselves, so personally, I trust more or less anything he says on this. And I fully suspect that we're going to be seeing crashed alien ships within a couple of weeks now. Hopefully though, this will ultimately lead to more than just one more site for players to visit. We need new gameplay mechanics to come with it, so hopefully it's not going to be too drawn out. The organisers of the Distant Worlds expedition, Eramis and all the rest, have returned with a new event. This one is called the August Exodus, and it's aimed at getting as many people as possible out to Jacques Station. Now, as mentioned earlier, Jacques Station is 22,000 light years away. That's quite a trek for many people, and if you're on your own, it can be quite a long and lonely trek. So the idea here is to get together a massive group of players, a whole fleet, that will be able to depart towards Jacques Station and head there en masse. Now, there's going to be two separate fleets, both departing at separate times. The first fleet will depart on the 31st of July, and the second fleet will depart on the 15th of August. The planned trip is expected to take around 2 weeks, and unlike the Distant Worlds expedition, there's also a return trip planned. So if you fancy to go out to Jacques Station and don't want to go alone, this could be the perfect opportunity for you. As you can see on the image here, a whole bunch of interesting waypoints have been planned along the way. So I can highly recommend this. If it's anything like Distant Worlds, then it will be an excellent tour. And who knows, you may actually want to stay out in Jacques Station and be one of the pioneers to build a new colony of civilization out there. Talking of expeditions, there is another new expedition, the Galactic Nebula Expedition. Now, this one is a successor to the rather exceptional and rather successful Crab Nebula Expedition. It's being posted about by T-Rex on the Frontier forums, and the mission statement here is to scout and catalogue the surrounding systems along each main waypoint towards the core, and to formally name within the game all the nebula along the route, as well as to further strengthen the exploration community within Elite Dangerous and to have fun, of course. Now, I think it's absolutely great to see continued support from the community of exploration. Exploration is a wonderful thing, and whilst there's not a huge amount of game mechanics around it, the galaxy really is truly wonderfully to explore. Now, Frontier, of course, are starting to pay a lot of attention to all of this because there's a lot of different community-based exploration events going on in the game. So Frontier are clearly starting to take both exploration and colonization very seriously, and we can guess that based purely on the things that are happening in the game. Not to mention that Sandra Samarco has also confirmed that there's a bunch of new exploration stuff coming up in the future. For both the August Exodus and the Galactic Nebula Expedition, you can see more in the video description below. Now today I've got an absolutely stunning video recommendation for you. This video is by Space Bear and it's called The Journey Starts Here. It's basically a tour of many areas of the galaxy, accompanied by some absolutely fantastic visuals and an absolutely gorgeous soundtrack. Highly recommend it. You can see some clips playing in the background here, but to get the full effect, do go and check out the link. I don't think you'll be disappointed at all. And whilst we're on recommendations, why not check out the stream of Crash Landing? Crash streams regularly on Twitch on Friday between 8 and 10 UK time, sometimes later, and you can see his stream archive on YouTube as well. So for links to both of these, do have a look in the video description. That then brings us to the end of this episode. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys and girls next time.